Pātai ana koe, he aha taku mahi, he hari aroha mai. Te kapua I te rangi, mana e kōrero, te aroha rao te iwi. E tangi ana hau, I ngā wā katoa, mō kua wehe nei. Tainui a whiro, e ngunguru mai nei, e mihi ana mai. Tēnā rā koutou katoa. Kei, nō reira, ko ai tēnei e tū mai nei, ko Kare-ā-roto I te maunga, ko whaingaro te moana, ko te kōpua te whenua, ko tainui te hapu, ko Hineitimoana Greensill tōku ingoa. Tēnā rā koutou. Oh, it's a bit of a hard act to following Jenny. Tēnā koe hoa, tēnā koe I o kōrero ātāhua. Me ngā kōrero katoa, ko whāriki hia I te rangi nei. Tēnā rā koutou, ngā kai kōrero, tēnā noho ki koutou, te hunga kua koutou, te hunga kua hui mai nei tēnei rā, ki te tautoko I tēnei kaupapa. Nei rā te mihi kia koutou. Okay, so I'll just start by, I think Leonie already mentioned our whakatauki puka that we did as part of one of our projects, I guess our first project that we did related to Kare-ā-roto. So what we're doing now is a continuation of that mahi. So we created this little puka and did some rangahau looking at our ancestral sayings, so whakatauki, whakatauaki, kupu, whakarite, kupu, waiwai, whakawai, kupu whakawai. So looking at these different types of ancestral sayings and the kind of mātauranga within those kōrero in relation to Kare-ā-roto. Ka pai. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with whakatauki, but hei paku whakamārama, I guess one way in which they're described is he kupuiti, ne, he iti te kupu, he nui te kōrero. So they're short, often short, pithy sayings, but sayings that carry a depth of meaning, yeah? They carry a lot of meaning, even though they're just these little kōrero. And they're often instructive in nature, so often there's messages in there for us, yeah? Ka pai. Nō reira, ko te mea tuatahi ka kōrero tia I te rangi nei, ko tēnei nā. And just... I guess just before I start to go into these whakatauki, I think it's important to say that he whakaaro noiho ēnei. So these are just some, what I'm sharing today, are just a few whakaaro about these particular whakatauki, whakatauaki, kupu whakarite, ne? There will be other whakaaro out there. So these are just a few of our whakaaro, yeah, about these kōrero. And there's probably lots of other whakaaro in this room here too. And we welcome any kōrero, any feedback that you want to give us about any of our mahi and any of the kōrero that we're sharing with you. Oh, okay, back to our whakatauki. He oranga ngākau, he piki ngā waiora. So this, yeah, within Māori understandings, the ngākau is where we locate many of our feelings, and this is something that, kei te mōhi o tātou, kei te mōhi o tātou. We're often translated as the heart. The ngākau includes all parts of our abdominal area. This is expressed in the many internal organs that we associate with feelings. This whakatauki emphasises the power of feeling positive in supporting our emotional, spiritual, physical, psychological and whānau well-being. Ne? He oranga ngākau, he piki ngā waiora. Nei anō, he kokunga whare e kitea, he kokunga ngākau e kore e kitea. And this one I think is a particularly important one when we're thinking about this kaupapa. So this whakatauki indicates that where we can visibly see the corners of a house, ngā kokunga whare, we do not have the ability to see the inner thoughts or feelings of a person. This reminds us to take care when engaging with others, as we are not aware of what may be happening for them or in their lives. Ne? Hapai. And this one here kind of connects to that particular whakatauki too. For those who are familiar with plants, you'll probably recognise that this is, I think it's actually a rangiora. Ki ētahi ko te rangiora me te whārangi e rua. So to some people, this is the same plant, the whārangi and the rangiora. To others, they may be different plants. So he rangiora tēnei, I roto I te whakāhua nei. And this one connects to whakama. Ne? So if you think about the rangiora or the whārangi in this particular whakatauki, ko tētahi taha he kākāriki, ko tētahi taha he mā. Tērā tētahi taha e huna ana, ne? So there's this white underside that's hidden, that you don't visibly see on the outside. And so we can think of this in relation to whakama, which is, often a feeling that's hidden, that you can't visibly see, and the kind of impact that can actually have on a person, yeah? Pai, te paki o hewa, he kupu whakarite tēnei. So again, this one is similar to the one we just talked about. This one is about fine weather, appearing to be fine, when there's actually turmoil that's going on. Yeah? So there's inner turmoil. Everything appears to be fine, but it may not be. Nō reira, ko ngā kare-ā-roto kei te noho huna, kāre te āta kitea. Kei tēnei nā he mea. Tino ātāhua, mehe manu au e kakapa nei. I'm all a-flutter like a bird. And one of my mates who came to watch our kōrero, came to listen to our kōrero yesterday, fell in love with this kōrero, because this is her. He ringa toi, and she's into everything. She's all over the place doing all of these different kaupapa, all these amazing kaupapa. Ko ia tēnei, pera I te tīrairaka, te pīwaia waka, flittering all over the place, doing all of these really cool, amazing things. Ko ia tērā. And, what was that kōrero we had about this one? That's right, ka pai. So there's that kōrero, tērā āhuatanga o te manu nei, o te pīwai waka, o te tīrairaka. But in this kōrero too, there's also, this speaks to te kakapa o te manawa, that excitement that you get, particularly I roto I te horopaki o te aroha. So in the context of aroha, when you're excited about seeing someone, ne? Ko ia tēnei, mehe manu au e kakapa nei, kei te kapakapa te manawa, hapai? You got that fast beating heart happening? Koira. Nā ka tahuri ki ngā mea e tehi mea e hāngai ana ki te... tēnei nā, e hāngai ana ki te riri. Ka tūwhera te tāwhera o te riri, kāore te tiro ki te ao mārama. When the gates of war have been flung open, you can't see reason. So this one, if we think about tēnei mea te riri, yeah? We know there's these different manifestations of riri, and sometimes when people are in a particular state of riri. It can be so extreme sometimes that there's absolutely no way that you can reason with them. Kuia tēnei, ne? Ka tūwhera te tāwhera o te riri, kāre titiro ki te ao mārama. And that's probably a time where you know, if you can't reason with someone, you need to probably just leave them. And those are moments that call for introspection, really, yeah, where people have to, me titiro whakaroto, people need to look inwards and they need to have time to themselves, because there's not really anything that you can do or say in those kind of moments. Mehe mea he raruraru kei a koe, me wewe te e koe. If you have troubles, free yourself. So this is a nice kind of follow-on one, ne? Mehe mea ka raru te tangata, mehe mea wanga ana koe, e aha ana rānei. Yeah, what can you do to actually free yourself of those particular Kare-ā-roto or emotions that may be harmful or not helpful, yeah, to you? So for me, and I'm sure for many others, actually going home, ko te hoki ki te kāinga, te haere ki te taho te moana. So going home, being by the moana, being by our maunga, those are things that do this for me, ne? Pai hoki tēnei. Me he maunga awha, like a lull in a storm. So if we return to tēnei mea te riri, so if we go back to thinking about riri, which can be like an awha, it can be like a big awha sometimes, but there's always a lull in a storm, yeah? It can't carry on forever and ever and ever. So there are always moments for calm. I remember someone saying in our wānanga yesterday, sometimes those moments are he tohu, he mea kei te haramai. Sometimes there's a tohu that there's something else coming. But yeah, this is a reminder, yeah, that there's always he wā, whakatā, e harei te mea ka haere tonu mo ake, tonu atu. Yeah, there's always a lull in a storm at some point. Hea tāhua tēnei te tau o taku ate. So this is one way that we've that this has been translated. Te tau o taku ate, he kupu whakarite anō. Ta ate, kei whea te ate? Where's the ate? In the body. Liver, ai, koira. Yeah, so something else that you'll notice in our kōrero, and lots of our kōrero, there are these references to different parts of the tinana, yeah, different parts of the body, whether it's the ngākau, the manawa, the ate, and we know that there are connections between those particular parts of the body and our emotions. So someone talked about the ngākau. Oh, that might have been you this morning, Leonie. The connection between the ngākau and our emotions. And te ate. Yeah, so this is an interesting one. The liver we seem to talk about a lot. I roto i te ao Māori, I roto i ngā kōrero pēnei, ngā kupu whakarite, when we're talking about emotions. And we had someone in our wānanga yesterday who was, again, talking about the kind of recent scientific connections that have been made between the ate and emotions. So this is something that we've known, mai rāno, yeah? And kei roto i tēnei kōrero, so there's that connection between the ate and the emotions, and in this particular kōrero we know he kupu aroha, ne? So this is a term of endearment used for a loved one. There are lots of other similar kupu, similar kupu whakarite, ko te kuku o te manawa, which Leonie talked about in our wānanga yesterday when thinking about her mokopuna, ko te kuku o te manawa, the pincers of the heart, ne? E rua, ne? Nei anō tētahi mea aroha. So these next few speak to different kinds of manifestations or different facets of aroha. Because we know I roto I te ao Māori, he whānui tēnei mea te aroha. Returning to Leonie's kōrero this morning, aroha isn't like this romantic Hollywood notion of love. It's he mea nui ke ake I tira, ne? It's much deeper than that. So these next few kōrero, in these next few kōrero, you can see these different facets, of aroha. So anei anō tētahi kōrero tamaiti piripoho he aroha whaerere. So this really speaks to the piripoho tō pepe, ne? That connection between mother and baby, which for those of us who have tamariki, you know that's a connection unlike any other. And this one here, so he paku kōrero mō tēnei, the closeness of a child to their parents is indicative of a loving relationship in which the child is cherished and made to feel like an important part of the whānau. Such a relationship also gives a child a sense of security and a desire to remain close to their whānau as they get older. So this kōrero here, tamaiti piripoho he aroha whaerere, that's an indicator really of that. Anā, ko te aroha anō tēnei. Whāngai tō tāua tuahine, hei tangi ia tāua. Let us nurture our sister and she will mourn for us. So roto I te ao Māori, the term whānau included people of the same iwi and hapu affiliation. We know this. Whāngai tō tāua tuahine means to respect and care for your whānau members. So we're not thinking about this narrow definition of whānau, of a nuclear whānau, but thinking much more broadly, ko te tirohanga Māori, ne? Te tirohanga Māori. So whāngai tō tāua tuahine means to respect and care for your whānau members. Hei tangi ia tāua, they will mourn your death forever. This whakatauki encourages people to nurture, love and care for your whānau members as they will do the same for you. The aroha that whānau share will remain the same even after death compared to that of a wife or partner, as they could be expected to marry again after the death of their spouse. This shows the importance of whānau to the well-being of an individual. And some of these little snippets of kōrero that I'm reading are little snippets taken from our pukapuka. Nei anō tētahi āhuatanga o tēnei mea te aroha, ahakoa he etikete, he iti nā te aroha. Although the basket is small, it is given with affectionate regard. Ne? So there's that aroha that we feel when we think about our whānau and our loved ones, there's that aroha. There's that aroha that we have for our hoa rangatira. And there's also, ko te whānuitanga o te aroha, respect and the respect and regard that we have for others. Ne? And you can see that in different types of gestures, like when or tikanga, like when we give koha. And that reciprocity, those reciprocal kind of gestures that we make, he tohu aroha, he tohu aroha. Nei tētahi kōrero anō, roto taranaki tēnei, Whatia pototia te tihi o Taranaki, the peak of Taranaki is broken off short. He momo tangi tēnei. And I'm just going to see if I can find this one in our puka puka. So this was one that was shared with us by Hori Manuirirangi. Ngā tirua hinde? Ne, ai. And this was a kōrero that came from one of Hori's tupuna. Oh, here we go, anei. So he momo tangi tēnei kōrero. And this was a kōrero that was a kōrero from Hurungarangi. I roto i tētehi, I roto i tana tangi, so in her lament for Hutupuna, ne, who was murdered. And one of the things that we can see here, which comes up, again, is something that comes up a lot, is this reference to the taiao, to our maunga, to those important tupuna maunga, and how that's used to describe the gravity or of the loss, of the loss. So this is a reference to tētehi tangata kua mate, kua hinga, a ka rongo koe te kaha pouri o te tangata, So you really feel in this kind of kōrero, the depth of pouri, the depth of sadness, the depth of grief. When you're talking about the peak of your maunga being broken off, he mea nui tērā, that's huge, And I was reminded when I was thinking about this kōrero today, thinking about a waiata that was composed by Te Kahautu Maxwell for his niece, Maisie Rika, after the 2011 earthquake in o Tautahi, te rū whenua. Ko te ingo o taua waiata, ruai moko. And there's a line in here that he waiata tangi. So if you go and if you look at the kupu and if you listen to that waiata, he momo waiata tangi. So there's a line in there, ka tanuku koa te tihi o Aorangi, ka tanuku. The tihi of Aorangi, the top of Aorangi has crumbled, it's collapsed. Pēnei tēnei nā. So it's an expression of that depth of emotion, that depth of loss, of grief that's felt. He hono ngā noho kiki tēnei, wahine tangi haihai he ngaru moana e kore e mātaki. Wailing and laceration of women mourning like a wave of the ocean go on unceasingly. So again, this is one of those ones that speaks to tēnei mea te pouri, te aroha anō hoki. So speaking to both aroha and pouri, so that, and those tikanga that were practiced by our tupuna, as an expression of their grief, tēnei mea te haihai, So these are things that we no longer see today, but were very much a part of the lives of our tupuna, part of their expression of emotion and grief in particular, Me tēnei nā, So going back again to Leonie's kōrero, ka heke te roimata me te hupe, ka ea te mate. When tears and mucus fall, death is avenged. And again, this is another way that our tupuna express their grief, and people continue to express their grief today, through the shedding of tears and hupe. And there's a kōrero here. So this is from Te Pipi Wharauroa, one of those old Māori newspapers from 1907, and there's a kōrero about this particular whakatauki. Ka pāna te pauri ki te Māori ka tangi, ka heke te roimata, ka heke te hupe. Nā konei hoki whakatauki ti ai, ka heke te roimata me te hupe, ka ea te mate. So when, I roto i te ao Māori, when we're struck by grief, we cry, we shed our tears, we let our hupe fall. And this is where this kōrero comes from, ka heke te roimata me te hupe, ka ea te mate. Ma te heke o te roimata, ma te ngunguru o te waha, ka mariri te pauri. Tēnā ko te Pākehā, ka kutia ia te ngākau pauri, te ngākau aroha, ki roto ki te manawa o tuai. So there's this comparison that's made here too between the expression of emotion, I roto i te ao Pākehā, and I roto i te ao Māori. And so this was an observation from a tupuna back then, 1907. So he's talking about how, from what he observed in te ao Pākehā, there wasn't that same outward expression of emotion that was so obvious in te ao Māori, but rather a suppression of emotion, So the tangi happens on the inside, you don't necessarily see it on the outside, which is, in stark contrast to te ao Māori, I te pēhi o te Pākehā i tōna ngākau pauri, ka kia e te Māori, ka hore he aroha o te Pākehā. Ko tō te Māori hiahia hoki, kia ki te tonu o na kanohi, kia whāwhā tonu o na ringaringa, kia rongo tonu o na taringa. So again, this tupuna is saying that, to the Māori, if you can't see the aroha being expressed, then, where's the aroha if you can't see it being expressed? So he's saying you need to see it, you need to hear it, you need to feel it, to know that that aroha exists. Nā runga i tēnei āhuatanga o te Māori, ara i tōna whai kia ki te rawa o na kanohi ka whakapono aia. Koira. Tifa tifa te pō, tifa tifa te ao. And this is a kōrero that, you'll often hear in he kupu, that you often hear in whai kōrero. I roto I ngā tangihanga. And we can think about this in relation to that kind of deep, when someone goes into a state of grief, a state of grief, whakamomori, those kind of states that are sometimes hard to get out of, and all you see is, your night and your day are dark. That's all you see, that's all you feel, and it's hard to get out of that sometimes, So we know that there's moments when this happens for people. Kei te kitea te māramatanga o tēnei āhuatanga I roto I tēnei kōrero. Pai tēnei. And then you come across kōrero like this, kupu like this, which this is really the other side of that pauri, of that whakamomori, of those types of emotions. Ko te mohi o he rā anō a pōpō. So knowing that there's another day tomorrow, there's another day to come. It's not, there's always the potential for things to be better. He rā ki tua, he rā anō a pōpō. He momo aroha anō hoki tēnei e kōrero hia nei. Tukuna mai he kapunga one kia hau hei tangi māku. Send me a handful of soil so that I may weep over it. And this kōrero, this whakatauki reminds me of a concept actually that from Tūhoi, te mate mate aone. So that deep sense of connection and longing that one has for home, yeah, for their whenua. So this is the kind of kōrero, the kind of feeling that you would have. Mihi mea kei te noho tawhiti koe I te kāinga, ne? If you're far away from home, and all you want is, all you want is to be back there, to be back on your whenua, and to be able to touch your whenua, ne? So that longing, that aroha for home, for your whenua, moto u kaipo, kei roto I tēnei kōrero. Okay. Oh, ka pai, he nui te wā. Ka pai, okay. So we got time for this. Nō reira, he mahi mā koutou I nai nei. So we just got a little activity for you now. So what I want you to do in your rōpū is to just have a little kōrero, whakawhiti whakaaro, have a little kōrero about some whakatauki, whakatauki, whakatauaki, kupu whakarite, pepeha, he aha rānei. So any kind of sayings that that where you think there might be a connection to Kare-ā-roto, some kind of connection, yeah? And then we'll go around and we'll get each rōpū to share one back. Ka pai? Our rōpū, I think it was is that your rōpū whaia? One of our rōpū over here. Ai, tēnei nā. Yeah, I kōrero kē mō tēnei. Hoki a ki o maunga kia pūre ai koe e ngā haua pāwhiri mātea. So we know that in doing that and returning home, he mea nui tēnei ki te oranga o te tangata. This is really important to our well-being. And it's important to make those connections, to make those connections, to reconnect, to stay connected. Ki te whakātu hoki tō tautoko, ai, ki te haukainga, ai no hoki koe ki te kāinga, ai mea nui tēnā. Nō reira tēnā koe whaia, tēnā koutou, o tira tēnā rā koutou katoa, kua hui mai nei tēnei rā. Ai, kua mutu te wāhanga ki au. Kia ora tātou.